The night of the Vance Gala, the entire ballroom shimmered like solid gold. I stood at Mother's side as the heiress of the group, only to watch my darling husband Ethan glide through the entrance with his secretary Scarlett tucked under his arm. "Vance, congratulations, Brown's company tripled its revenue this year," said Peterson, a partner, lifting his flute. Before Mother could answer, Scarlett threaded her arm through Ethan's and cooed, "It's all thanks to Ethan. He slaves day and night for the firm, his poor secretary can hardly bear to watch." Every guest in range swapped glances. Everyone knew I was Ethan's legal wife. Who was this woman to flaunt herself at the Vance party? Ethan didn't push her away, he stroked her hair like a fond owner. "Scarlett's been run ragged traveling with me for deals. Tired, huh?" "Not at all. Being beside you is worth anything." She bit the word being and tossed me a taunting glance. I lifted my champagne, let a cool sip roll over my tongue, and smiled thinly. Ethan, bold doesn't cover it. You're humiliating me on my mother's turf." Mother's face had already darkened. "Ethan, Luna is right here. Don't you think you should greet your wife?" Only then did Ethan act as if he'd spotted me. "Oh, Luna, you came. I figured you'd skip the networking since you're busy with Stella." "Exactly," Scarlett chimed in. "Sister Luna stays home with the baby while us career women fight in the trenches beside Ethan. Still, with a family empire behind her, she doesn't need to show her face." I set my glass down and walked forward. "Interesting spin, Sue. You talk as if Ethan's firm weren't buttressed by Vance money. Ethan, when you had nothing 5 years ago, who handed you seed capital? Who introduced Vance's biggest clients? 80% of your contracts land only because the Vance name sits in the background." Ethan's cheeks flushed mottled red. "Luna, we're in public. Let's discuss this at home." "Home? When did you last sleep there?" "Stella B. Arelli recognizes you." Scarlett tugged Ethan's sleeve, pouting. "Ethan, I feel faint." "What's wrong?" He caught her shoulders. "Too much tonight? Let me drive you home." Suddenly Scarlett clapped a hand over her mouth, retched, and wilted against him. "Scarlett! What is it?" Ethan yelped. "Call an ambulance." She sagged in his arms and announced in a deliberate croak, "It's fine, maybe because I'm expecting." Gasps rippled across the hall. A listed CEO knocking up his secretary, staging the revelation in front of his wife. Mother's expression was iron. "Ethan, how dare you?" I watched the pair perform and felt my stomach turn. Ethan shielded Scarlett, wearing a mask of guilt yet entitlement. "Luna, I'll explain later. Scarlett's condition is fragile, I have to get her to the hospital." "Unnecessary." My voice rang ice cold. "Ethan, effective this moment, Vance terminates every contract with your firm." His face drained. "Luna, don't be reckless." I walked away, his frantic shouts faded behind me. Too little, far too late. Before we continue, please subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. Early next morning, Sterling burst into my house. "Luna, get down here." Sterling bellowed in the foyer. "Who gave you the right to cut off my son's business, you vicious witch?" I descended unhurriedly. Stella, cradled by the nanny, eyed the grandmother she rarely saw. "Mom, what brings you so early?" I asked, settling onto the sofa and pouring myself tea. Sterling spewed, "Still calling me mom? Look what you've done." "So he has another woman, you'd bankrupt him over that? You can't give him a boy. A man finds a willing womb, what's the crime?" "Scarlett's pregnant, that's the Sterling air crying inside her." Stella wailed at the roar. I took her and soothed her. "Speak softly, you're scaring the child." "Shut that brat up. Good for nothing girl." Sterling glared. "If you'd produced a son Ethan wouldn't need a mistress." I laughed coldly. "A son for Ethan? He's not worthy. When he courted me he swore all he needed was me, boy or girl. Now that his company lifts off he shows his true colors?" Sterling huffed. "Which man doesn't want a son to inherit? The Vance fortune doesn't care, but the Sterlings have only Ethan. We must have a male heir. Scarlett is well bred and already carrying my grandson. Be sensible, let her in as concubine, you stay legal wife. If you refuse, don't cry later. Ethan says he'll divorce you, Stella stays with you, and you'll never see a penny of Sterling money." I laughed at the shamelessness. "Sterling money? You mean the firm my mother financed?" Every brick, every client, every desk came through Vance. His office rents Vance property, his ledgers are stuffed with Vance referrals, and the desk he lounges at was bought with my money. On what ground does he negotiate divorce? Sterling sputtered, crimson-faced. "So what? The legal representative is Ethan, the Vance family sign nothing. Men have affairs, stop being petty." No wonder Ethan avoids home. As she ranted, Ethan stepped in, Scarlett waddling behind, belly forward. Mom, why are you here? He played peacemaker. Luna's thin-skinned, easy on her. Scarlett rested both hands on her bump, fragile as porcelain. It's my fault, Madam Sterling. I'm sorry to trouble you. If I weren't pregnant, Brown wouldn't have to upset Sister Luna. Sweet child, nonsense. Sterling's tone flipped. She guided Scarlett to a chair. Careful in your condition. Ethan approached me, oozing pretend guilt. Luna, last night was wrong of me, but Scarlett's pregnant and I can't abandon her. Relax, you'll always be my wife. Once Scarlett enters, she'll only be a concubine. Most of each month I'll spend with you and Stella, I promise. Looking at his hypocritical face, I felt only revulsion. Ethan, remember the oath you made? I was young. He shrugged. Luna, try to understand, a man needs a son. Scarlett stroked her abdomen on cue. Ethan, maybe we should stop. If Sister Luna objects, I'll bow out. I'll raise the baby alone and never enter the Sterling gate. That's out of the question. Sterling shot up from her chair. My grandchild won't be raised as some outsider. The child comes into this family, period. She swung toward me, eyes blazing. Luna, if you refuse, we'll drag you to court, sue you for disrespect, for spite, for every filthy accusation we can pin on you. I rose, Stella cradled in my arms, and started upstairs. Do whatever you want. Just remember, Ethan's company received Vance's termination notice this morning. From today on, he won't see a single purchase order from Vance, ever. Ethan's face went chalk white. Luna, you can't. That company is my life's work. I glanced back. Your life's work? Without Vance, you're nothing. The moment Vance pulled its contracts, Ethan's firm nosedived. Clients who had only played along because of Vance tore up their agreements overnight. Suppliers swarmed the lobby demanding checks, and bankers hammered on the door with overdue notices. Ethan spun in circles, mopping up one crisis while juggling pregnant Scarlett's tantrums. One afternoon I was in the study running the group's numbers when Sterling burst in again. Luna, you viper. You're murdering my son. She lunged to slap me, the bodyguard pinned her arms. The company is flatlining. Billy's camp outside our gate, and Ethan's losing his mind, all because of you. I didn't even look up. Business is a bet, you lose, you pay. Ethan's short of talent, blame himself. You barren hen. Sterling screamed, shaking. You can't stand that Scarlett is giving Ethan a son. Scarlett waddled in, belly first, smirking. Sister Luna, why so vicious? It's just that I'm carrying Ethan's baby. The doctor says it's a boy, and Ethan's over the moon, his heir at last. I set the folder down and smiled thinly. Congratulations. Are you sure the father is Ethan? Scarlett's smirk froze. What do you mean? I tossed a stapled printout onto the desk. Your Hotel L. Edger from the Southport trip. Besides Ethan, a certain Derek checked in the same night, room right next to yours. Scarlett stammered, he's a client. We discussed contracts. Contracts till 3 a.m.? I sneered. Contracts that require shopping bags from a sex toy boutique? You had me followed, she shrieked. Sterling hesitated, suspicion clouding her face. Scarlett, is Luna telling the truth? Ethan barged in, complexion thunderous. Scarlett. Derek confessed. Derek's wife had uncovered the affair and detonated it in Ethan's reception room. To save himself, Derek swore Scarlett seduced him. Ethan, listen, Scarlett reached out. Explain while you were screwing Derek? Ethan shoved her away. Whose bastard is this, really? Scarlett collapsed, sobbing. It's yours, Ethan, I swear. Get lost. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot. I torched my company for you, and you hand me horns. Sterling swung, slapping Scarlett hard. Bitch. Daring to dupe the Sterling family. I watched the circus from my chair, ice in my veins. Escort them out, I told the intercom. Security, remove these people. Only then did Ethan remember why he'd come. He dropped to his knees. Luna, I was wrong, dead wrong. For the sake of our marriage, save the company, please. I stared down at the man groveling on my carpet and felt nothing. Marriage? Ethan, you forfeited that word. It was Scarlett's fault. He hugged my leg, snot and tears on my silk skirt. I'll devote myself to you and Stella, just one more chance. Sterling knelt too. Luna, Mom was blind. Be magnanimous, spare Ethan this once. Seeing the tide turn, Scarlett crawled over, bumping her belly. Sister Luna, blame me. I tempted him. I'll get rid of the baby, tomorrow. Forgive Ethan, I beg you. The sight of the three of them kneeling was almost comic. Stand up, kneeling won't rewrite history. I smoothed my suit. Ethan, 5 years ago you had 0. My mother gave you a shot because I asked. For 5 years you brandished Vance's logo lick. EA Crown, swaggering through Riverdale. Now the party's over and you want a do-over? Life doesn't come with a rewind button. Ethan opened his mouth, my assistant knocked. Vance, the attorney is here. A middle-aged lawyer in a navy suit entered, nodded to me, and handed Ethan a thick envelope. Sterling, please accept service of Vance's divorce papers. Divorce? Ethan's voice cracked. Luna, you're filing for divorce? More than that. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. Our audit shows you leveraged the Vance name to sign contracts all over town. Break those contracts and the penalties hit $300 million. Add the Vance resources you siphoned at startup, and you owe the family $500 million. $500 million. Ethan crumpled. Nonsense. Sterling shrieked. Extortion. A setup. The lawyer kept his tone clinical. Every figure is documented. Secure counsel immediately. Also, due to adultery, the prenup is clear, you forfeit all marital assets. Prenup. Ethan whispered, suddenly remembering the document he'd bragged about signing to prove his devotion, back when climbing the Vance tree looked effortless. Ethan. I shook him off my leg. Stella will never need a father who sells integrity so cheaply. Security, take out the trash. Guards hauled the trio into the corridor. Ethan's howl echoed off marble. Luna, you'll regret this. I swear you will. I walked to the window, watched them tumble onto the sidewalk, and smiled, cold, sharp, ready. Because the game had only just begun. Without Vance's life support, Ethan's firm flatlined. Creditors circled like sharks in bloody water, assets frozen, accounts gutted, his pride and joy sports car carted off to auction. Scarlett, the moment she realized Ethan was flat broke, turned on him without a second thought. Ethan, you're nothing but a penniless loser now, she screamed inside the cramped studio he was renting. If I hadn't thought you were loaded, would I ever have looked at you? You swore you'd marry me. Now you can't even keep yourself fed. Ethan slumped on a sagging couch. Scarlett, just give me a little more time. I'll bounce back. Bounce back? She sneered. With what? All of Riverdale knows you crossed the Vance family. Who's going to partner with you now? Let me tell you, this baby isn't even yours. It's Derek's. Ethan shot to his feet. What did you just say? I said this baby belongs to Derek. Scarlett gloated, stroking her belly. Derek's already promised to divorce his wife and marry me. He's 10 times richer than you ever were. You bitch. Ethan lunged at her. She sidestepped, laughing. Ethan, take a good hard look in the mirror. If you hadn't chased me, would I have given you the time of day? You're the one who whined you were sick of Luna the washed-up hag and wanted some excitement. Now you blame me? With that she tossed a paternity test envelope onto the floor and started out. Ethan picked it up. The single sheet inside spelled excluded in cold black ink. He stood thunderstruck. He had lost everything, his company, his fortune, his reputation, and even the child he had believed was his own flesh and blood. When Sterling learned the truth, rage sent her to the hospital with a stroke. With no money for treatment, she lay in a public ward, unable to afford a nurse. Ethan scrounged for odd jobs, but word of his disgrace had spread through Riverdale. No one would hire him. At last he ended up hauling bricks on a construction site. One afternoon I took Stella shopping and ran straight into him as he mopped the mall floor. He wore a grimy uniform, kneeling to scrub the tiles. When he saw us he froze. Stella didn't recognize him at all. She tugged my hand, curious. Mommy, why is that man staring at us? He's a stranger. Let's go. I led her around him. Luna. Ethan dropped the mop and chased after us. Luna, please, for everything we once meant to each other, help me. My mother's had a stroke and needs money for treatment. Please, loan me something, anything. I swear I'll pay it back. Security jumped in and barred his way. Sir, stop harassing our customers. They dragged him off as he screamed, Luna. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I let lust blind me. Please, give me one more chance. Stella hugged me in fright. Mommy, that man is scary. I lifted her into my arms. Don't worry, Mommy's here. Back in the car my assistant reported, Luna, Ethan keeps trying to approach you. He even went to the estate, security threw him out. Noted, I said coolly. Tell them they don't have to be polite next time. 3 months later I received word that Sterling had died. After the stroke, untreated for lack of funds, she lingered 3 months in the hospital before finally giving up. Ethan couldn't scrape together funeral expenses. In the end a few distant relatives pooled enough for the cheapest cremation. It was raining the day they collected her ashes. I drove past the crematorium and glimpsed Ethan kneeling in the downpour, clutching the urn, crying as if his heart had been ripped out. The once legendary CEO hadn't even an umbrella to his name. My driver asked, "Luna, should we stop?" "No need." I looked away. This was the price he owed. When he paraded Scarlett in front of me to mock me, had he ever pictured himself drenched and broken? Another month passed and Scarlett gave birth. As predicted, it was a boy. Derek was over the moon and threw a lavish full moon banquet. The good times lasted days. Derek's legal wife stormed back into town. She'd never meant to divorce him, she had only stalled while quietly shifting every asset into her own name. Now that the transfers were complete, she slapped Derek with divorce papers citing adultery and demanded the court award her the entire estate. Derek discovered every property, car, and share certificate had already been re-registered to her. The judge ruled he left the marriage with nothing but the clothes on his back. Outside the courthouse, Scarlett T wailed, baby in her arms. "Derek, you can't abandon me." He shoved her aside. "Get lost. I can't even feed myself. If you hadn't seduced me, I'd never be in this mess. Your sleazy affair with Ethan trashed my reputation, no firm will touch me now." Only then did Scarlett learn Derek had been fired months earlier. After the scandal broke, no company wanted the liability. She stood in the rain, infant clutched to her chest, drenched and homeless, an absolute stray. Ethan appeared at that moment. He surveyed her misery, a flicker of satisfaction in his eyes. "What's this, dumped?" "Ethan?" Scarlett gasped. "Why are you here?" "Came to see how the tramp who ruined my life is doing." He smirked. She backed away, shielding the baby. "None of this is my fault. You were just useless." "Yeah, useless." He closed in. "But you're not exactly riding high, are you? Now do you understand what karma feels like?" A full year drifted by. Under my mother's guidance Vance soared, and I formally assumed partial leadership of the group. Stella attends the finest private school in Southport. She's bright, well-mannered, and adored by every teacher. Tonight, leaving a business reception, I spot a familiar silhouette on the sidewalk. Ethan stands beneath the awning clutching a cheap grocery store bouquet. He is gaunt, his face etched with regret, stuffed into an ill-fitting second-hand suit. When he sees me, he steps forward. "Luna." My bodyguard blocks his path. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he blurts. "Just 5 seconds." I signal the guard to stand down. "Speak." Ethan holds out the roses. "Luna, for a year I've woken every day wishing I could rewind time. I know I forfeited any right to your forgiveness, but I'm sorry, so damn sorry. I wrecked our home, ruined Stella's childhood, and destroyed myself in the bargain. I leave the flowers untouched." "Ethan, your apology is of no use to me." "I get that," he says with a broken smile. "I just needed you to know I finally understand what I lost. You are the person I hurt most in this life." He sets the bouquet on the curb, turns, and walks away into the night, shoulders stooped. Watching him disappear, I feel nothing, no hatred, no pity, only the quiet certainty that some mistakes can never be repaired. Back in the car, my assistant adds, "Luna, we just confirmed, Ethan's working as a bottom-rung salesman at a tiny startup, barely making rent each month." Scarlett took the kid back to her rural hometown. They say she's waiting tables now. Derek's reputation is so trashed he couldn't land a job anywhere. He finally ended up on an assembly line. I gave a small nod. "Got it." Every one of those endings was a road they picked themselves. "Luna," my assistant said, glancing at me, "you really don't feel the tiniest bit soft? After all, you too once, soft?" I laughed. "When they ganged up to humiliate me, did anyone show me softness? Some people don't deserve forgiveness." The car pulled away slowly, leaving the bouquet of roses and the past behind. Half a year later I ran into Ethan at the hospital by chance. I'd brought Stella for her checkup. He was hunched on a corridor bench clutching a stack of lab printouts. He looked worse, sallow skin, non-stop cough. When he spotted us he instinctively tried to duck, but it was too late. "Daddy?" Stella piped up, evidently remembering the man she hadn't seen in ages. Ethan froze, his eyes reddened instantly. "Stella." "Mister, who are you?" She tilted her head. "Why were you saying my name?" So she'd already forgotten him. His hand shook as he reached to pat her head, then pulled back. I'm. Words failed him. "Stella, let's go." I took her hand. "Luna," Ethan called, I probably don't have much time left." Only then did I notice the printout, stage 4 lung cancer. For the past year I worked on construction sites, the dust was brutal. He gave a bitter smile. "Doctor says 3 months, tops. What do you want?" "I'd like, just to watch Stella, even from far away." He begged. I know I'm not worthy to be her dad, but still. No need. I cut him off. Stella's doing great, she doesn't need you barging in. I know. He dropped his head. Sorry, I'm being selfish. I walked Stella out without looking back. Behind me his muffled coughing sounded as if it were tearing his chest apart. At home I told Sterling. She was silent a moment. You did the right thing. Once he chose betrayal, he chose the price. Stella doesn't need a father like that. Exactly, when he picked Scarlett, he forfeited the right to be a dad. 2 months later the hospital rang. Ethan was dying and insisting on seeing me one last time. I didn't want to go, but since we'd once been married I drove over. In the ward he lay gaunt, barely human. Seeing me, he struggled to push himself up. Don't move. I stood by the bed. Say what you have to. Gasping, he choked out, Luna, sorry, the thing I regret most, in this life, is betraying you. If I could start over. I swear. There's no if. I kept my voice flat. Ethan, remember, you picked this road. His eyes squeezed shut, tears slid to the pillow. Stella, tell her. I'm sorry. I won't. I turned to leave. In her mind you vanished long ago. Wait. He fumbled an envelope from under the pillow. I wrote this for Stella. When she's grown, if you ever think fit, let her read it. I took the envelope without a word. That night Ethan died. No one saw him off, only a pair of orderlies handled the paperwork. The man who'd once strutted through Riverdale as Sterling ended up dying alone, not a single mourner beside him. I opened the letter, just a few scrawled lines. Stella, Daddy is sorry. I wasn't a good father and I missed watching you grow. I hope you can forgive me. Listen to Mommy, be happy and healthy. I tucked it away. Perhaps when Stella is older I'll tell her the whole truth. But not now. News of Ethan's death rippled through the Riverdale circle. Everyone sighed at the cautionary tale. The man who'd ridden the Vance family coattails to the top had crashed that hard. When Scarlett heard, she showed up at Vance with the child. She knelt on the sidewalk, sobbing, Luna, please, for the child's sake, help us. This little one isn't Ethan's, but he's innocent. Security was about to drag her off when I told them to wait. I stepped out and looked down at her. Scarlett, you dare come begging? I was wrong, Luna. Tears streamed down her face. I've got nothing left, the child's father won't even look at us. Please, for old time's sake, give me a job. Old times? I gave a cold laugh. You mean when you seduced my husband or when you shamed me at the gala? Scarlett couldn't answer, she just kept kowtowing. Your downfall is self-made. I spun back toward the lobby. Security, see that she never sets foot here again. Luna, she shrieked. How can you be so heartless? Heartless? I glanced back. Compared with what you did to me, I've shown mercy. After that day Scarlett vanished. Word is she dragged the kid to her rural hometown and supports them with odd jobs. Derek, they say, ran up loan shark debt, got his leg broken by collectors, and now survives by panhandling. All who once cut me have met the fate they earned. Stella and I started fresh. Under my watch the company keeps soaring, and Stella grows taller and brighter, my pride. Some quiet nights I still think of that marriage. More often I thank myself for being ruthless. If I'd stayed, if I'd forgiven, this beautiful life would never have bloomed. Some people are destined to be nothing more than passers-by. Some mistakes are forever unforgivable. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked the video, please hit like and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.